Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to look at our third and final RC car that NKOK Toys sent over. This is the Gungoose. Before we crack this open, I want to say thank you to NKOK Toys for sending this over. I had a great time with the Mudhog, so I have a feeling I'm going to have the same experience with this Gungoose. This and the rest of the vehicles that they produce for the Halo Infinite line can be found on Amazon. The price for this one is $29.99. As always, I will put the links in the description below. Now, if you don't know much about NKOK Toys, they specialize in all things RC. Aside from Halo, they also have Sonic the Hedgehog vehicles, SpongeBob SquarePants, some rock crawlers, and like a bunch of different stunt vehicles. The back of this packaging shows everything that this Gungoose can do. It has working lights as well. The transmitter is different. I kind of prefer that. It has a longer range to 100 and 150 feet, and also you can play up to 16 players as well. It looks like it takes 6 AA batteries. Alright, here she is out of the packaging. Now, this is considerably bigger than the Mudhog and the Rocket Hog as scale purposes go, so they're not in line with each other, which is totally okay. Now, the sculpting to this looks great. The wheels are rubberized, so there are some like softer elements to that there. Hubcaps look great. They have a glossy paint to them with some nice sculpting. Chief is in a sitting position driving this Gungoose. Now, he cannot be removed, but he does have articulation at the arms, so you can take them and move them upwards and downwards on both arms. He also has articulation at the head, so you can get him looking from side to side, which is a nice feature. They didn't have to add any articulation, so that's pretty great. And then both arms, if you wanted to, you can have him driving with no hands, crashing it into some banished. The rest of this sculpting looks great. You can see there's some logoing of the UNSC on the sides of the fenders. Also, there's some logos on the sides of the cannons and at the front of the engine bay. These fender bars have some give to them, so if you do end up like rolling it or something like that, they're not so stiff where they're just going to break, you know, the first time you do it. There's also some headlights for those LED bulbs, so I'm excited to check that out. I'm sure they're going to be pretty bright. I mean, the Mudhog certainly was. But overall, I do like this. They stayed true to the sculpting from what we see in the game. And then obviously some areas have to be a little bit bigger, I mean just due to the motor of this RC car. And the paint applications look pretty good too. There are some areas obviously that we're probably not going to see on this, you know, that are in the game, small little details, but that's totally okay. Here is the bottom of it. We have the on and off switch here, the battery compartment, which actually holds 4 AA batteries, not 3 like I thought. And then here is the steering alignment. In case you know, you crashed a few times and the steering's kind of funky, you can take this little lever and you know, help compensate. You know, as I was messing with this off camera, Chief does have some articulation here at the legs. And it's not crazy or anything like that, but it's still pretty cool that they included that, so you can take his leg and move it outwards and inwards. So that's pretty nice. So let's see how we're looking measurement-wise. Again, this is bigger than the Mudhog, I mean, as far as scale goes. So from front to back, we are, man, about 9 inches, maybe just under 9 inches. Wheel length is 2 inches, and the width is just at 1 inch. And then Chief's height is about 5.5 inches tall. And of course, we got to do a comparison with our World of Halo Gungoose and Master Chief. 2 different brands, 2 different scales, so they're not compatible. But I know there's going to be some questions asking me to do this, so here it is. So let's have a look at this transmitter. I do prefer this style compared to the Mudhog's trigger one. I mean, I do like this, but I don't know, this just feels a little bit more remote control-y to me, if that makes sense. But the layout is pretty standard. We have our boost button there. We can go from left to right on the right-hand side. Forwards and backwards is going to be here. And then we have an on and off switch. There is no antenna that sticks out. Essentially, when you open up this compartment here, they recommend you taking a pin, pushing that little button in. You can take this battery compartment out. 2 AA's will go in there. Once you do that, the little red light's going to start blinking. You then turn on your Gungoose and it will pair automatically. I also like how this somewhat resembles an Xbox controller. I mean, I don't know if that was intentional or planned, but I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's take this baby for a spin. So here we are in my garage. I thought it'd be pretty cool to set up some World of Halo brutes and barricades. Let's get a little bit of a slow-mo action there. Since they are kind of in scale, I thought, you know, they're close-ish. I thought it'd be pretty cool to set those up and just have the Gungoose knocking everything over. And then I thought it'd be pretty cool just to leave the cars there as like extra obstacles for it to go underneath, around, maneuver through. And then here it is going through my daughter's little play set, out of the garage into the driveway. Now, where this vehicle is really going to excel is going to be on these flat, hard surfaces like the garage, your driveway, or the streets, also casually knocking some stuff over. Now, it's not going to perform well on like dirt or mud or heavy thick surfaces. It's just not that powerful compared to like the Mud Hog. So I think if you keep that in mind, you'll have a great time with it. It does have some gradual acceleration, but it hits top speed pretty quickly. And that boost button is a nice feature. You can totally tell the difference once you hit that button. It gives it a nice little jump. Now let's give it a whirl during the night. So these two LEDs in the front are very bright. I would say they're probably just as bright as the previous two vehicles. Something I noticed is once the battery started to lose some power and some juice, the headlights still remain pretty bright. I was actually surprised. I thought that the lights in the front were going to start to, lose their effect and their brightness, but no, you can actually see the speed in the vehicle first before the headlights give out. Alright, my final thoughts on the Gungoose by NKOK Toys. I think it's a fun piece if you utilize it correctly, which I recommend somewhere indoors or maybe on a flat surface throughout the streets. I think it's a lot of fun, especially if you're able to set up like some obstacles. Since the World of Halo figures are somewhat in scale with this, it made it easier to set up obstacles from that line, so like little barricades, turrets, and like some brutes to run over. The lights at the front were just as bright as the previous two vehicles. When it comes to the battery life, I got about maybe 25-30 minutes or so out of it before I started seeing signs of decline. So this was a shorter battery life compared to the other two, which I can see that happening. I mean, this is a bit of a bigger vehicle using, alkaline batteries, and it is also a little bit heavier too. So all in all, that does make sense. When it comes to batteries and RC cars, I do prefer the rechargeable ones. I like the idea of being able to, plug and play type of thing. Put it on the charger, let it charge up a little bit, and then pop it right back in. Those also typically have more output power, so the vehicles can go a little bit faster and handle some rougher terrain. Finally, when it comes to the transmitter, I think this is a cool piece. Again, I like how they sculpted it. It does resemble an Xbox controller, so that is a win. The buttons are easy to handle. I mean, they're very user-friendly. The boost button is nice. It does add that extra acceleration to the vehicle, and you can see it right away. So all in all, I think it's a fun vehicle to add to your collection, especially if you want to set up some obstacles around the house or even around your driveway. But if you're looking for something a little bit more rugged and muddy and dirty, then I would definitely recommend the Mud Hog. And then if you want something kind of in between the two, the Battle Hog is your best bet. But thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Be sure to find me on Instagram where I do toy photography, toy videos, toy hunts, toy deals, and all things toy related. Link in the description below. I also post very heavily on my stories when new things drop. I'd like to say thank you again to NKOK Toys for sending all of these pieces over. If you want to pick up one for yourself, the links will be in the description. But if you like this video and you want to see more of it, be sure to like and subscribe. It is free, and I will see y'all in the next video.